Are facing child neglect and drug charges now after deputies say their children, a 3-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy, were found wandering in the streets in near freezing temperatures without any coats or shoes on their feet. Our Brian Miller is live tonight from the area where the kids were found. Brian.
Yeah, those deputies tell me those kids definitely were not dressed for the cold. In fact, when they found them, they were shivering. And it was a neighbor who saw those kids wandering down this street right here who called 911. Now, according to sheriff's deputies with the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office, the parents are now both facing neglect charges along with possession of drug paraphernalia. Investigators say those kids were wandering around while their parents, Matthew and Stormy Brown, were asleep in an upstairs area of a garage, the house they live on in the street. And deputies say they had meth-related drug paraphernalia laying right next to them as they slept. Our camera was rolling as the two made their way out of the sheriff's office one at a time just before they were hauled off to jail. Now, the deputies say that those 3 and the 4-year-old had a very hard time communicating with the deputies, and that made it an even bigger challenge to find out exactly where these kids lived.
The children couldn't tell us where they lived. When we got past one of the houses, they did point at a house, and when we made contact with people that lived at that house, they said that they don't live there, but they recognized them, and they pointed us in the right direction of where the house was at.
It's tragic, and I'm sure that once they realize what's really happening, those parents are going to feel really bad.
Yeah, and the temperatures today got pretty cold, as you just heard Brett mention there in the top of the show. We're about 24 degrees colder today than we were yesterday. And deputies say because those kids had such a hard time communicating, they're not really sure just how long they were outside. And coming up at 10, we'll explain what happens next for those kids and for the parents as well. And also, we'll hear from that one neighbor you heard from just now. She's just heartbroken at what happened right next door to her. Reporting live in West Tulsa tonight, Brian Miller, 2 Works for You.
Glad the kids are safe, though.